So friend, are you tired of searching for the perfect neutral color for the inside of your home, or even its exterior, the outside for the layman? Look no further than Sherwin Williams Balanced Beige. In this video, we'll explore the versatility and style of this beautiful color and show you how it can transform your space. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee or decaf, and let's dive into the world of Balanced Beige. So Balanced Beige is barely a beige in my books. There is a decent dose of gray to help settle it all down, maybe even a borderline grayish aspect happening. It also has a very subtle brown undertone, still making it warm and inviting as a color to use as a backdrop for any room in your home, really, but it's not going to be as warm and electric as some of the yellow undertoned beiges and tans that exist. Not only that, it has an LRV, or a light reflectance value, of 46. And for anyone watching that doesn't know what that means, welcome to the channel. I talk about LRV all the time. It's just a percentage from 0 to 100 representing how much light a color reflects. So 46 out of 100, that means it's gonna reflect a decent amount of light, making a space feel relatively bright, but not as much as, let's say, a white paint that might have an 80 or even a 90 LRV. The good thing about midtones like this is they're pretty usable in many situations, especially when we're talking about wall paint colors, because it really feels balanced depth-wise. Not too light, not too dark, that kind of thing. But when we start talking about the color itself and the undertones, its sense of balance is both a gift and a curse. Let me explain. Neutral colors have a strong advantage in the usability department because they don't make a massive impact compared to other colors that are maybe more saturated and dynamic. The problem with being so, well, neutral is your paint color can also feel a bit vague and ambiguous and maybe a bit boring for some people. So much so that it could have a different feeling depending on your space. Because the color isn't making a statement, it's gonna be left to interpretation in a lot of situations. Sometimes it could feel a bit more beige, maybe like a lighter taupe in other situations. Basically, when the color itself doesn't have a huge visual impact, your surroundings can have a bit of an impact on that color. That's what's happening here with Balanced Beige. So I wanna reinforce this. Always test your colors. No matter how good I make a color look, you gotta test it out in your space because that is the best way to know if it's a right fit or not. Now, it's not all doom and gloom here though, because when it comes to interior design, Balanced Beige works well with a variety of design styles. It's the perfect complement to a farmhouse or a rustic look if you have a lot of woods, and can even work with more modern styles when paired with bold accent pieces. In my opinion, it's a color that can work in a wide variety of situations. Just be sure to verify whether you like how it interacts with your space, of course. But Balanced Beige isn't just for interior spaces. I know there's a lot of you that are getting ready to paint the exterior of your home as the weather gets nicer. It also works well as an outside or outdoor paint color. Midtone neutrals that lean warmer are everywhere, mainly because you shouldn't get sick of them after a year or so, which is good. You want your exterior colors to really stand the test of time, so you're not having to repaint after a year or two, because exterior painting, I don't know if you've gotten a quote recently, it's expensive. And another great bonus is this is a good color to work with all kinds of brick and stone accents. They all seem to work in a really nice way. And another little fun way to use Balanced Beige on the exterior is to paint your porch or your deck with this shade, with like a solid stain or just a deck paint, for similar reasons why you would want to paint it on your house. It's not going to be too polarizing, you won't get sick of the color, it's just going to blend in. If you're doing that though, don't paint your deck and your house the same color because that's no fun. Now, if you're one of our faithful viewers, you already know the process. I'm going to give you a bunch of color pairings for this color to make sure that you have a color palette that will work in your home. We're giving you 3 wall colors and 2 trim options for your enjoyment. The first one is a color called Creamy, which is one that I love. I talk about this color a lot. It is an 81 LRV warm white, and I would say that warmth comes from yellow, unlike Balanced Beige. And this is a color that will seem more bright and uplifting. I find this color to be an excellent choice where you want a bit of a gallery aesthetic without going too stark and too cool with a white, because some white paints can do that. Just be mindful though that this color could be too bright in the really well-lit parts of your home. Although I kind of like fluorescent walls sometimes, you know, just really just reflect all that light in my eyeballs, please. I love it. But it's true though. A lot of people do gravitate towards really bright, airy walls that just reflect a lot of light back into the space, but you don't want to overdo it at the same time. Now, because this color is quite bright, you could use it as a trim option on your baseboards and your frames and all that. But wait, because I have two better ones at the end of this video. Stucco is the next color, and honestly, it's a natural choice if you want an alternative to balanced beige that is a little bit lighter, but not as light as creamy. And also this color is a bit of a greenish rather than a taupey beige.
What does that mean, James?
Well, balanced beige in comparison is almost a bit of a brown leaning beige, while stucco takes a lighter beige and combines it with a light dose of a gray green. It also has a 63 LRV, so if you're paying attention, that's sort of in between creamy and balanced beige. Really is kind of sitting in an optimal lightness level for interior wall colors especially. I'm a big fan of anything that is beigey green as well, so this is an underrated choice, one that I love, one that is very biased towards me. You might not mesh with the green undertone as much as I do, but I think the way that it works with balanced beige is kind of complementary, right? The brown and the green, kind of like tree bark and tree leaves, a natural fit. Aquitaine is the accent color, beautiful, vibrant sky blue. So you see what I did here? We got the little bit of brown, a little bit of green, and then the blue to sort of liven it all up. It's the darkest color so far, technically, but I find you can even use it in rooms that don't necessarily get the best lighting. I find it a very uplifting blue that goes great with both naturally lighter and darker woods alike. And it can also be used off of the walls really well on things like bathroom vanities and furniture that you're looking to refinish. And of course, outside. What a fun front door color. So balanced beige mixed with those three, that's kind of the color palette in and of itself. But we got two trim colors to finish it all and put a button on it or cherry on top, whatever you want to say. It's called Greek Villa. So this is one of my favorite Sherwin Williams white paint colors, 84 LRV. So the brightest color of the bunch, quite bright. Not quite as warm as creamy, which we talked about earlier, but I think that's a good thing as a trim choice because it makes it more of a natural fit amongst the other colors in the palette. So whether you're going with something a bit cooler in aquitaine, a bit greeny, or a bit brown, or warm with creamy, they're all going to pop off the nice Greek Villa trim. Because it's not super crispy, super bluey, frigid, off-white. It has a touch of warmth, but just a touch, and I think that's all you need here. Grizzle Gray is my other trim choice, and as you can tell, quite a bit darker here. Slight avant-garde pick, I would say. Instead of going with a predictable slate gray or dark taupe, Grizzle Gray introduces a deep, cool green incorporated with charcoal. And I love this pick because a majority of the color palette is pretty neutral and in the middle, so by adding some color and depth onto the baseboards, the doors, and the frames, that'll become the focal point more rather than the walls. And I think that's always a fun thing to consider. Here's the palette all together. Let me know what you think, please. I gotta know. We got another Sherwin Williams color palette right over here. Check it out.